Well, the MSI Rumble stage is done, and unfortunately, Cloud9 is not moving on. This is coverage brought to you by Alienware. Fudge, you are the sacrificial lamb I have found. Not only are you carrying your team in-game, but you're carrying them in these sad interviews. You were just on the broadcast doing one as well. It's funny because yesterday I asked your manager, I was like, hey, can I interview somebody tomorrow just if, regardless of what happens? He's like, yeah, who do you want? I'm like, I feel like Fudge is going to be in okay spirits. So let me ask you, yeah, are you in okay spirits right now?
Yeah, I'm okay right now. I mean, obviously, winning the last game helps a lot with the spirits, but uh, obviously the result is still really disappointing. Like once you come out of the dopamine of winning the last game.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, what do you think for you personally of this MSI? Again, I know you've been at Worlds previously when you were in Oceania, but what was this event for you? Because I'm sure some of the other guys, these other veterans, might be more tough for them. But I mean, at the very least, I feel like this was a great opportunity for you to really showcase yourself against some of these top talents.
Yeah, I'm like really happy that I got the opportunity to actually play against like such really like top teams. Like a couple years ago, I would never imagine that I'd be playing against like RNG and Dam1, like literally the best teams in the world. So it's really like fortunate for me, in my circumstances. For my like performance during the tournament, I think that's a lot of people seem like say that like I think they think that I played pretty well or above expectations, and maybe I did play above expectations, but I still think that there's so much that I play like I make a lot of mistakes, right? And I still can do a lot in the game to actually like help. So I don't really want to act like I'm playing well. I still think there's so many mistakes that I'm making that could like cost us games or could have won us the game if I didn't make.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to touch on that. I'm glad you brought it up because I know it's like one of those tough things where maybe you're a bit cautious to say like, oh, I did really well at this tournament or I showed up because of the results that the team had, but you don't feel. I mean, look, in LCS, you were like beating your chest, being really proud of yourself, and I have a video on my channel to show the amount of dislikes that people were giving based off of that confidence.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
Whereas here, here,
I
I
mean,
feel like people are finally giving you that credit. So I mean, does that at least not feel vindicating, at least in some way?
the credit feels better than if I were to get flamed, right? But uh, generally, I don't like having the public influence like how I feel because either I'm going to be really sad or really happy if that were to be the case. And I think it's much more important that I just keep like have a different way of like evaluating my own performance rather than like public opinion. Uh, I think that I did play above expectation, but uh, yeah, obviously it feels really nice, and even though we lost, like I still can say that I think I played okay, but I still think that the idea that I played like the best on the team, I think isn't necessarily true, and I think in a lot of games I didn't. So um, yeah, there's that, I guess.
There's also a debate that I've seen over yesterday and today about. I mean, actually, even a little bit before that, because I think LS said like this was the best performance or showing from an NA team long time, maybe ever. Grabs was saying similar things, and there's been a lot of folks that have just been saying like, "Hey, Cloud9 played really well. Their record just doesn't show it." So I'm curious what you think. Do you agree with that sentiment? Do you think that the record is not a clear indicator of like the talent and skill that you guys showed?
I think the record is an indicator, but I don't know if like you could say that we are the best team perform like internationally, like so far as an NA team. But I think that maybe you could argue that in the game, it's the closest NA has been to like China and Korea. Maybe like not including like season 2 or season 3. I wasn't watching back then, so I
Sure.
don't know. But uh, I do think that like there isn't actually that big of a gap. There is definitely a gap there between like NA and the other regions, but I think in the games, they're also making a lot of mistakes. They're also very beatable, and I think that's the idea that like NA can never ever beat them is untrue, and it's just a matter of how much we can improve compared to them.
What did you and the team learn, you think, while being at MSI? Because this definitely feels like it was a pretty good crucible for the team in comparison to perhaps a lot of the LCS matches you play in.
Yeah, I think that it was sort of like a reality check where we will realize that like individually we're not that good like, compared to what we could be, and as a team we don't play that well together, and we don't coordinate many things that we could and other teams do. For example, Jahu would call his jungler to dive top at level 3 and Lucian Malphite. If I was playing against an NA player, I don't think I would ever get dove like this, even though it's quite obvious, right? When you look at it now, people don't punish you like this. Like that's things that are very obvious when you like in hindsight. So I think it's very obvious that we don't coordinate very well, laners with jungle, compared to what we could. So it's more of like a reality check that like, at least for me, it's a reality check. Maybe for others it isn't, but it sort of feels like you realize how much you have to improve, and it helps you to be more open-minded about what you could do in the game.
Well, okay, so this is one of my concerns for you. You've had a bit of a superiority situation with a lot of the NA players in the past, and I think there was that quote. It's like, I didn't know how bad NA top laners are, or something like that. How much worse is that going to be now that you've gone to MSI and you've been like, oh my god, these players are so good?
I think people misunderstood, and people said like we were blaming NA for us losing, which isn't true. Obviously, like it doesn't matter if NA's bad, we can still win these games. Like the mistakes we're making isn't because we're part of NA. Like, but I mean, I don't think like maybe I have a superiority complex or something, but like I think that it doesn't matter that much. It's just like I just need to make sure that I continue to improve as much as I can, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Because realistically, like we won domestically, but it doesn't matter. Like internationally, we entered, so like who cares? And next time we go to Worlds, that's all that's gonna matter. So
yeah.
Yeah.
How confident? So in the past, we've seen MSI teams. Obviously, this didn't happen last year because no MSI. But it's funny because oftentimes you'll see the MSI team go to MSI, learn a lot, etc., and then like struggle through the first couple of weeks of the LCS because they come back and maybe they're just tired or something. Any worries about that because it's only a couple weeks away?
I've never like thought about it that much, but I assume a lot of it would be towards like people being tired and not really like playing a lot of solo queue after MSI, not really understanding the new champions or the new patches. So I think that's something that's important that we don't do. We actually should still be playing solo queue regardless of us being out of MSI, and it's very close, I think, to LCS still once we get back. So it's very important that we continue to play the game so that we can like keep what we gained here at MSI.
I have a suggestion. I know maybe you guys have flights booked for tomorrow. What if the team just sticks around and keeps scrimming some of these teams for the next couple of weeks? You know, maybe go to the hot springs.
So, I mean, the thing is I don't think Riot's paying for us to do that, but I was willing. I said that if you can you keep me here to play solo queue? But I don't think that Riot wants to pay for that. So, and I don't think C9 will. So
call Jack. Call Jack. Be like, listen.
I mean, I don't think it's actually up to C9. I think they actually don't have like hotel rooms. Like
yeah. And with the pandemic stuff, it's probably really hard to coordinate all this.
Yeah. So we're just flying tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, understandable. Well, at the very least, you'll be back, and you probably do need to recuperate a bit before the start of the season. So I get it.
Yeah, a couple days, maybe.
All right, we'll end on an unfortunate day with a fun question, which I've been asking a lot of people. A Mark Zimmerman question. Have you seen the 1996 film Space Jam?
Yeah, I think I know the question.
Okay. But you have seen the film.
I have not seen the film.
Okay.
I have not seen the film, actually. I am Australian, and I don't watch movies.
Pabu has seen the film, and so did BioPanther.
He's... Okay. I'm just weird then.
Well,
I don't watch movies a lot, you know?
I don't think it's unusual to not have seen this film. That was years before you were born.
Yeah, I've not seen a film. I know what the question is, and I already thought about the question, and my answer is Chovy because he's the best like CSer in the world. So if I can become like Chovy in CSing, I'll be the best operator.
What if it was somebody at this event?
At this event, maybe Showmaker. I think Showmaker is probably the best player at the event.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say Showmaker. I think Showmaker is probably the best player.
Shahu? Then you could just play all these different lanes.
I mean, I think Showmaker is probably like the most impactful player out of anyone at the tournament.
Anything you want to say to the fans?
sorry to everyone that was still hopium after we were losing our first couple games and still losing like yesterday. And hopefully I will be able to improve enough to play well at Worlds and have a better result.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Fudge, for the interview. Sorry about the loss, but I do appreciate you being a good sport and doing all this content. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things MSI right here on my YouTube channel. Hello. Thanks so much for watching that video. I really appreciate it. By the way, have you seen our hot tub streams? Mark and I are doing hot tub streams every day after the MSI matches, and they're increasingly getting depressing because of how things are going. No, we're having a good time. We're having a good time.
Why would I be too upset? I still think we get out. Oh my god. How's your laptop?
It's I think it barely avoided getting hit. It's mostly okay.
I'm a hot tub streamer!
So be sure to check it out. I'm getting a bit of a sunburn. I have a sunburn right. I don't know if you can see. Does this show up? Does this show up? Anyway, that's over at twitch.tv/Travis Gafford. And you know what's awesome is we're streaming it on an Alienware computer. And you know what else is awesome? Alienware just announced some really cool stuff, including the X Series notebook. Go just do yourself a favor and Google Alienware X Series. Take a look at their new notebook. There's more information coming about them June 1st, so stay tuned for that. And check out their link in the description.